What if Germany had closed its doors to immigrants in 2015? Imagine standing on the German border in 2015. A tired woman cradles her child, the child's faint cries punctuating the silence as they wait for entry into what they hope will be a new beginning. But in this alternate reality, the German border remains shut. The disappointment, the fear, the uncertainty, it's palpable. What would have happened if Germany, one of Europe's largest economies and a political heavyweight, had refused entry to over 1 million migrants during the European migrant crisis? How would this decision have shaped Germany, the EU, and the world today? Welcome to our exploration of this powerful what-if scenario in modern history. Dive with us into the ripple effects of such a major policy shift. And don't forget to share your views as we unravel this timeline. You're as much a part of this historical conversation as we are. By 2015, the world witnessed a humanitarian disaster unlike anything seen in decades. Millions of refugees, fleeing war-torn regions in Syria, Afghanistan and beyond, poured into Europe. Many of them arrived in Greece and Italy, first stops in their harrowing journeys to safety. These countries, overwhelmed by the sheer number of arrivals, struggled to manage the influx. Enter Germany. Chancellor Angela Merkel faced a monumental decision: to keep borders open and admit hundreds of thousands of asylum seekers, or to deny entry, letting the crisis grow elsewhere. Her decision to welcome refugees was historic, earning her praise and criticism alike. It shaped Germany's image as a compassionate leader while creating political, economic and social challenges at home. But what if she had chosen differently? What if the doors had remained closed? Had Germany enforced strict border controls in 2015, the immediate implications would have been striking. The country might have avoided the initial chaos of integrating an unprecedented number of refugees into schools, housing, and the labor market. Financial resources strained by emergency housing, social benefits and language programs may have gone elsewhere, addressing domestic priorities. Yet, there's another side to this coin. Refugees aren't simply a financial drain. Many bring skills, ambition, and a younger demographic to aging societies. Germany, with one of the oldest populations in Europe, benefited from the influx of a younger workforce. In this alternate reality, rejecting refugees may have saved Germany money in the short term, but at what long-term cost? Could stricter borders have led to a stagnating economy burdened by an aging, shrinking workforce? One country's decision often ripples across the world. If Germany had shut its doors, where would over 1 million refugees have gone? Likely the already overburdened nations of Greece, Italy and Hungary would have faced even greater pressure. Refugee camps, often overcrowded and under-resourced, might have spiraled further into humanitarian crises. As tensions escalated, the political divisions within the EU would likely have grown. Countries like Poland and Hungary, already resistant to refugee redistribution quotas, might have doubled down on their opposition. Meanwhile, frontline nations would demand more support. The idea of EU solidarity, a fundamental principle of the bloc, might have been further fractured, potentially paving the way for even earlier calls to reform or dismantle cooperation agreements. Domestically, Germany's decision could also have shaped its political landscape much differently. The rise of the far-right Alternative for Deutschland, AfD party, gained significant momentum following the influx of refugees, using fears over immigration to feed their populist rhetoric. If Germany had rejected refugees, would the AfD have gained less traction? On the other hand, shutting the borders might have sparked outrage from humanitarian organizations, progressive groups, and parts of the German population that supported the welcoming stance. A different kind of polarization may have emerged, one where the government faced accusations of heartlessness and ethical negligence. In this scenario, Germany would not have had to deal with the immediate challenges of integrating such a massive number of displaced people. However, the long-term consequences of rejecting refugees could have been severe. Without the influx of younger workers, some argue Germany's economic growth over the past few years might have slowed due to its aging population. But beyond economics, there's a cultural dimension to consider. Refugees have contributed to Germany's diversity, enriching its society in ways that ripple through arts, music, cuisine, and community-building efforts. Would a Germany insulated from these influences have developed as vibrant and dynamic an identity. On a broader scale, Germany's decision to refuse entry could have accelerated the political unraveling of the European Union. The EU, already struggling to manage the weight of the migrant crisis, might have seen deeper divides between member states. Anti-EU sentiment, stoked by disagreements over migration policies, could have pushed for earlier referendums like Brexit. Alternatively, some speculate that Germany's rejection could have forced faster reforms in how the EU collectively handles migration. Stricter, centralized policies might have emerged, but at the cost of compromising the values of mutual respect and shared responsibility. At the heart of this discussion are the refugees themselves. Over 1 million men, women, and children escaped war, persecution, and famine, hoping for sanctuary in Europe. In this alternate reality where Germany shut its doors, what would their fates have been? For many, the dream of safety may have ended in overcrowded refugee camps or dangerous journeys across the sea. The human cost is impossible to calculate entirely. By rejecting them, would Germany have signaled to the world that humanitarian crises are not shared responsibilities? And how would this decision have shaped global responses to future refugee waves? Angela Merkel's decision in 2015 is one of the most debated choices of recent history. Her stance was a bold embodiment of the values she believed in. But had Germany chosen the opposite path, it would have projected a different image, one of self-preservation above international humanitarian commitment. In this speculative timeline, Germany's global reputation as a defender of human rights and international cooperation could have been severely damaged. Would future leaders have deferred to or distanced themselves from Germany on global crises? And how would the world perceive Germany today? As we reflect on this scenario, it's clear that every decision carries its benefits and trade-offs. This counterfactual story isn't just about Germany, it's about the intersection of ethics, politics, and practicality in crisis management. Sometimes there are no easy answers. But now we want to hear from you. What do you think Germany should have done in 2015? Would keeping the borders closed have resulted in a better or worse outcome for Germany, the EU, and the world? Share your thoughts below. We love hearing from history buffs like you. And if you enjoyed diving into this what-if scenario with us, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel. History is full of twists and turns, and together we can explore them all. Let's keep the conversation going.